Right now, in this very second, you are bleeding authority without even realizing it. Every time you open your mouth to justify yourself, you hand over your personal power to someone who didn't earn it. You think explaining your actions makes you appear transparent, mature, and reasonable to those around you. But to the predators and opportunists watching you, your endless words sound like desperate weakness. You are hemorrhaging respect every time you feel the urge to fill an uncomfortable silence. Look back at the last conflict you had. You gave away your exact intentions before you even acted. You over-explained, you defended your position, and in doing so, you handed them the exact roadmap to dismantle you. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It is the ultimate position of tactical superiority. When you are quiet, you force the entire room to adapt to your unknown frequency. But you keep talking because you fear what people will think if you don't defend yourself. That fear is costing you your standing, your freedom, and your internal peace every single day. People take your peace and use it as fuel for their own selfish maneuvers. While you bleed words, quieter minds take control of the environment without lifting a finger. Stoicism knew this truth thousands of years ago. Silence is a fortress no enemy can breach. Yet you leave your gate wide open every time you speak out of emotion or impulse. Stop giving away your sovereignty to people who treat your thoughts like cheap currency. They do not care about your reasons. They only care about how to use your words against you. The world rewards the calm calculation of the silent man and punishes the noise of the rest. If you do not master the art of restraint now, you will spend your entire life reacting to others. You will be played like a chess piece by minds far more patient than yours. It is time to stop the leak before you are stripped of every drop of leverage you possess. Your tongue has been your greatest liability, running long after your logic has ended. The cost of your constant commentary is the complete erosion of your mystery and gravity. No one respects an open book. They skim it, use it, and throw it aside. If you want absolute control, you must learn to make silence your default state. Silence forces your adversaries to project their own insecurities into the void you create. They will talk to fill the quiet, revealing every secret weapon they intended to use against you. This dynamic reveals the precise moments where silence transforms you into an untouchable force. Pay close attention, because every mistake you continue to make is draining your power. The choice is simple. Master your silence now, or spend the rest of your life suffering your noise. You were conditioned from childhood to believe that good communication solves every human problem. Society taught you to express your feelings, articulate your motives, and seek middle ground with everyone. They told you that being understood is the foundation of respect and healthy human relationships. That advice was a trap designed to make you docile, predictable, and remarkably easy to manage. You feel exhausted because you are constantly trying to clarify yourself to minds committed to misunderstanding you. You reread messages, replay conversations, and agonize over how your words were interpreted by others. The problem is not your articulation. The problem is your naive belief in people's goodwill. Modern culture weaponizes openness to strip individuals of their natural psychological armor. When you lay out your vulnerabilities, people do not handle them with care. They archive them for future leverage. You think you are building bridges, but you are actually constructing the scaffolding for your own execution. Look around you. The individuals who dominate corporations, social circles, and political arenas rarely over-explain. They move in absolute silence and let their results create the reality everyone else must adapt to. You, on the other hand, announce your dreams before they are built, inviting sabotage from envious onlookers. You explain your boundaries repeatedly instead of enforcing them silently with immediate and final action. This perpetual impulse to speak comes from an unhealed need for external validation. You speak because you want them to agree that you are right, fair, smart, or competent. The moment you need their agreement, you give them sovereign power over your emotional state. They sense this dependency instantly and exploit it to keep you perpetually defensive and reactive. You have been conditioned to treat silence as awkwardness, when in reality silence is absolute composure. When an uncomfortable quiet settles over a conversation, you rush to fill it with meaningless chatter. In that exact moment, you surrender the tension and allow the other person to relax at your expense. The person who can comfortably sit in silence always controls the room's psychological gravity. Your openness has not made you loved. It has made you predictable and easily maneuvered. People know exactly what offends you, what pleases you, and what your next 3 moves will be. You have removed all mystery from your presence, leaving nothing for their imaginations to respect or fear. Without mystery, authority cannot exist. You become a known quantity, easily filed away and ignored. The corporate world, personal relationships, and social hierarchies all operate on this unwritten law. The loud are used as noise, while the silent are consulted as authorities when real decisions must be made. You were told that silence is passive, but in truth, speech is often a helpless reaction. Silence is active discipline, the conscious decision to hold your energy until it can be deployed with lethal precision. Every time you speak without strategy, you disperse your mental power into the air, like worthless smoke. You believe you are connecting with people, but you are actually giving them the weapons to disarm you. It is time to dismantle the foolish belief that you owe anyone an explanation for who you are. You owe no one your thoughts, your motives, your pain, or your strategic future plans. The world taught you to be loud so it could keep track of where you are and what you intend to do. When you go completely quiet, the system loses its grip on your psychological coordinates. They cannot manipulate what they cannot predict, and they cannot predict what remains unsaid. Reclaim your mystery today by closing your lips and watching how quickly the room shifts in your favor. Stop letting the world mine your mind for free information that costs you your strategic advantage. You must become a vault, impenetrable, dark, and filled with power that only you control. The illusion of the vocal hero is dead. The era of your strategic silence begins now. Learn to let the silence do the heavy lifting while you observe everything without revealing anything. Your speech should be a rare luxury, not a cheap commodity available to anyone who asks. When you speak less, every single word you eventually utter carries the weight of an absolute decree. Break the habit of verbal self-defense and step into the quiet authority that was always meant to be yours. Marcus Aurelius was not a philosopher seeking comfortable applause from public crowds. He was the absolute ruler of the known Western world, commanding legions while navigating deadly court betrayal. He knew that words were cheap political tools used by weak men to deceive and manipulate. In the quiet of his military tent at night, he recorded dangerous truths meant for his eyes alone. He documented the exact mechanics of psychological detachment and power preservation. He understood that human beings are naturally noisy, reactive, and easily swayed by petty emotions. To survive as a sovereign mind, Marcus developed a radical philosophy of absolute internal control. He viewed silence not as a passive retreat, but as a strategic sanctuary from global madness. He observed that those who speak the most are almost always those who control the least. Marcus Aurelius wrote one sentence that reveals the complete power of tactical detachment. You always have the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. Read those words again. You always have the option to hold absolutely no opinion whatsoever. You do not need to comment on every event, every insult, or every passing opinion. Society demands that you take a side, voice your view, and register your public reaction. Marcus Aurelius recognized that this demand is a trap meant to consume your mental sovereignty. When you refuse to form an opinion, you remain completely unattached and psychologically free. The emperor relied on this internal void to make ruthless decisions without emotional interference. He allowed others to ruin themselves through loud, emotional outbursts while he observed in silence. His journal was never published during his lifetime. It was a private manual for absolute self-mastery. He did not teach people how to sound smart. He taught men how to become impenetrable fortresses. Modern culture ignores his core warning because modern culture profits off your constant emotional noise. Marcus Aurelius understood that silence is not weakness, it is the highest form of Stoic strength. When you master the discipline of non-reaction, you operate with the cold precision of an emperor. You stop being a spectator reacting to the world and become the quiet force shaping it. Let us now examine the 10 specific moments where applying this ancient Stoic weapon grants you absolute power. First, never take the bait of emotional provocation. Someone insults your character or throws a passive-aggressive comment during a critical meeting. Your heart rate spikes, your face flushes, and every instinct screams at you to defend your honor immediately. They provoked you specifically to measure your emotional ceiling and see how easily you can be disarmed. When you react with anger or excuses, you give them total confirmation that their strike landed accurately. But when you respond with absolute silence, you reflect the entirety of their toxicity directly back onto them. Your silence forces everyone in the room to sit in the awkward wake of their toxic attack. Starting today, when provoked, hold eye contact, count to 4 in complete quiet, and say absolutely nothing. Watch them squirm, backpedal, and attempt to soften their words under the weight of your stillness. Remember always, this knowledge is for protection, not destruction. Second, maintain absolute silence when you hold total tactical leverage. You caught someone in a clear lie, or you hold the decisive upper hand in a high-stakes negotiation. The amateur immediately boasts, gloats, or explains how caught the other party is. In doing so, the amateur releases the pressure valve and lets the opponent off the hook emotionally. When you hold leverage, state the bare facts once and then enter a state of complete silence. The other side will panic in the quiet and begin offering concessions to break the psychological tension. They will negotiate against themselves simply to resolve the crushing stillness you have created. Practical execution. State your terms clearly, then close your mouth until they deliver an answer. Never rescue them from the silence that is forcing their submission. Drop this truth deep into your subconscious. My silence is not weakness, it is a strategic. Third, never reveal your moves before they are completely executed. You have a brand new business concept, a career transition, or a dramatic personal upgrade in motion. You feel an overwhelming urge to post about it, tell your friends, or seek early validation. Premature announcement releases dopamine in your brain, tricking you into feeling you already achieved it. Furthermore, it alerts your competitors and envious associates to start laying traps for your journey. Stoics build in total darkness, so their results strike the world like a sudden thunderbolt. Execute your strategic shifts silently. Let your finished work be the very first notification they receive. Keep every new project secret until it is 100% operational and immune to intervention. Fourth, respond to overt disrespect with cold, disarming silence. Someone makes a snide remark about your background, your appearance, or your capabilities in public. The lower nature wants to yell back, trade insults, and lower your stature to match theirs. Engaging in a mudslinging match elevates the disrespect to a legitimate debate between equals. Silence communicates a lethal truth. Their opinion is so beneath you it does not warrant energy. Look at them like an interesting specimen under a glass. Pause briefly, and then continue your thought. You disarm the insult by treating it as completely irrelevant to your reality. Embed this mindset. I do not debate with pigs in the mud. Fifth, refuse to speak when pressured to validate your credentials. People will ask condescending questions designed to make you prove why you deserve to be in the room. The trap is that by answering, you accept the premise that they are the judge and you are the suspect. Never perform for an audience that set up an audition you didn't agree to take. When asked condescending questions about your qualifications, meet them with a calm, neutral stare and silence. Let your presence your history, and your posture. Answer questions beneath your rank. When forced to justify yourself, smile slightly, remain silent, and move seamlessly to the next topic. Sixth, become the silent anchor when everyone around you loses their minds. Crisis strikes an organization, a family, or a partnership, and chaos erupts instantly. People scream, assign blame, panic, and make hasty decisions driven by raw fear. If you add your voice to the noise, you multiply the panic and lose your ability to assess reality. By standing perfectly quiet, you become the calm gravity well that stabilizes the entire environment. People instinctively turn to the quietest man in a room during a storm, because silence signals composure. Speak last, speak slowly, and deliver only actionable solutions once the emotional noise burns out. Stand firm in this truth. I am the still point in the turning world. Seventh, keep your wounds hidden from those who did not earn the right to heal them. You feel a deep desire to vent about your past traumas, betrayals, and personal hardships to casual acquaintances. You mistake their polite listening for genuine empathy and deep spiritual connection. In reality, most people store your tales of past suffering as data regarding your specific vulnerabilities. Stoics process their pain internally, or with a vetted brotherhood, never in casual public conversations. Bleeding in front of sharks only invites an attack. Keep your battles private and your scars hidden. When asked about past struggles, give a one-sentence summary and pivot away immediately. Eighth, receive unsolicited advice with polite, unbothered silence. People who have achieved nothing in their own lives love to lecture you on how to execute yours. Arguing with them validates their unearned authority and wastes your valuable focus. Nod once, maintain complete silence, and throw their advice directly into your mental garbage bin. Do not explain why their plan will fail. Let their own reality teach them the lessons they lack. Hold this firm boundary. My destiny is not subject to casual opinion. Ninth, win your battles and secure your victories in absolute silence. You crushed a competitor, closed a massive deal, or proved your critics completely wrong. Spiteful gloating creates bitter enemies who will spend years plotting your eventual downfall. The true Stoic sovereign accepts victory as a normal expectation, not a shocking surprise worth shouting about. Collect your rewards quietly, step into your new reality, and prepare for the next objective. When you win, say thank you once, accept the result, and immediately go back to work. 10th, use silence as your final, immutable answer to foolish arguments. You find yourself sucked into an absurd argument that has no basis in logic or empirical fact. Trying to reason with a fool requires you to adopt foolish logic just to communicate with them. Cut the debate instantly by going completely silent and letting their nonsense hang in the air. Your silence is a wall against which their foolish words will smash without leaving a single mark. Protect your energy like the rarest resource on earth. Do not throw it to those who feast on foolishness. Master these 10 moments of silence and you will notice a permanent shift in how the world responds to you. You will no longer feel depleted at the end of the day from useless verbal skirmishes. You will possess a heavy, undeniable presence that forces others to treat your words with reverence. Declare this sovereign law: my energy is sacred, my words are decrees. You are arriving at the ultimate threshold of your personal transformation right now. The helpless, over-explaining child you used to be can no longer coexist with the sovereign mind you are building. The old you is dead. Bury that soft, desperate version of yourself beneath the heavy weight of absolute silence. You spent years seeking permission to exist, asking others to validate your choices and applaud your progress. That pathetic era of your life is finished forever. The moment you lock your jaws and hold your tongue, feel the immense power that builds inside your chest when you choose not to speak. That tension is your actual life force, saved and concentrated instead of wasted on trivial chatter. You are a weapon, pointed at your own future. Every action you take from this second forward must be silent, lethal, and absolute. Let them wonder what you are planning. Let them tremble at your sudden, quiet shifts in behavior. When they try to draw you back into foolish noise, offer them nothing but a cold, unyielding stare. You do not owe them your thoughts. You do not owe them your strategy. You owe them absolutely nothing. You belong to no one. You are an independent citadel operating in a world of fragile, noise-addicted subjects. Rise above the chaotic ocean of human opinion and claim the absolute sovereignty that is yours. Let your results speak so loudly that your voice is never required to defend your name again. The master of silence is the absolute master of every human room he walks into. Step through the gate of restraint now and never look back at the loud fool you left behind. Your silence is your crown. Wear it with cold, uncompromising stoic pride starting today. You now hold the precise knowledge required to detach from worthless emotional noise and claim total authority. Subscribing to this channel is entirely your decision, made only if you are ready to master dark philosophy and stoic power. If you choose to walk this disciplined path with us, step forward and lock in your membership now. If you prefer to remain reactive and loud, leave this chamber and return to the noise of the crowd. Answer this one question in the comments below and let it disturb your thoughts for days. What is the single biggest secret you are bleeding right now because you refuse to stay quiet?